People talking about revolution day, changes on the way. They're born in a land, the better parts controlled by the alien. They fill the pockets of Portuguese, Chinese and Syrians. Trinidadians is who should own land. Now is the time to make the land their possession, but their sense of taste could just trace to all them fancy showcase. So the businessman, he blow their mind, and his dollars, them got to find. Trinidad is nice for men like Sabda, Kupalani, Maraj and Waidi Lima.
Trinidad is nice, Trinidad is a paradise.
Business expanding, more banks they building, so is the capitalists and them who should sing.
Trinidad is nice, Trinidad is a paradise.
And like the slave masters want to bring back the whip, and the chorus singing like they on a trip.
Trinidad is nice, Trinidad is a paradise.
But I hear my sister talking about revolution day, fire on the way. They don't know their worth, like they haven't a sense of value. They don't know their rights, even that they cannot argue. 750,000 people cannot get up and do something about the struggle, but to plan for the next holiday, to get their lives away, and forgetting that they own the soil of which their foreparents toil. For the people who form the constitution laws, for the oppressors and foreign investors.
Trinidad is nice, Trinidad is a paradise.
Amoco and Shell business did went swell, on your oil them foreign parasites dwell.
Trinidad is nice, Trinidad is a paradise.
Yes, indeed, of course. A pleasant good night to all and sundry, east, west, north, south, central, our friends in Tobago, and wherever you are, streaming on the World Wide Web. A pleasant good day to you. This is, yes, the already Wednesday, yes, the Wednesday edition of the Corridor Transformation from 8 o'clock. Of course, you will forgive us for being a bit tardy tonight. I don't want to blame anybody, but if I have to blame, I know that he is going to, of course, respond appropriately, but I will blame Joshua. Right? But that being as it may, if we are tardy, if we are late, in other words. Right? But that being as it may, of course, we have a bumper program for you tonight, and we will commence, of course, as usual, with a bit of a commentary, if you want to call it that, from Joshua, and, of course, to welcome him back, because, of course, he was a bit more under the weather yesterday, last night, and while he has not yet fully convalesced or recover or have gotten better, he decided that he will be on tonight because, like me, he doesn't want to stay too long away from you. But of course, you hear him from time to time coughing in the background or on set. Well, that's because he is still under the weather. In fact, he did not go to school today because of that. He fell ill, as I said yesterday, in school, and we had to come and retrieve him. And today, whole day, he was lying and, of course, attempting, and we were giving him, of course, appropriate medicine to see if we could get him ready for tomorrow. Whether that is so or not is dicey, but we will still, of course, try. And I know that once he's feeling update, he will, of course, attend classes tomorrow, because after all, it's a new school, it's Eastern Boys, and he would want to get settled down, so to speak, and acclimatize to the new environment. Next, just not too far from here, and which would make it very convenient for me, because sometimes I'm in San Fernando, and then they call me in Belmont, his previous school, to tell me that something has gone wrong, and that of course we have to pick him up, or he would call me on his way down to George Street. The next thing, I am not there because it's impossible for me to be in two places at the same time. I am not ubiquitous, or no I carry the appellation or the name God. In other words, only He is omnipresent, as the term would go. He is present everywhere. Well, I am only human. But that being as of course, his mother is there as well. But sometimes she doesn't drive, so you'll appreciate. Even though we have more than one car, I wouldn't say how much, but the fact is that she doesn't drive, and so I always have to do the honors. Of course, yes, you're right. I have been behind her to get a license from time immemorial. I wouldn't tell you how long because I think it's embarrassing. But I think she has made up her mind. She has given me some indication that from time to time that she will be pursuing that course, and that will be very good for everybody. It relieve some pressure for me, making sure that, of course, some of the things that she would normally do or depend on me to do, that requires, of course, some kind of chauffeuring, that she would be able to do the honors. That being as it may, but let's get down to serious business. Pleasant good night to you, Joshua.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, no, just yeah. You come a little closer if you want, or bring this a little closer to you. Right, yeah. I find you said that, in a bit low key, low tone, not with the sprite and spirit that we normally would see with. Even though, of course, we only have just about 3 or 4 programs below your belt, so to speak. How is it? How are you feeling today? And are you up to it for tomorrow, for example? I see you're sweating, even though we have 1, 2, 3, 3 fans focus on us. But I suppose that is because of the lingering of the ailment. I think he has the cold and with it a bit of fever and so on and so forth. What he has decided to come on. So let's hear, tell us how your first day was at school. I think we didn't get a chance to explore that last night because you weren't here last night. So just tell us that quickly, and then we'll go into the reading, and then of course you will make your departure so that we could start the program, the other leg of the program, so to speak. Go ahead.
School was nice.
Speak a little louder now. Speak a little louder now. I know you're under the weather, but you can speak a little louder. Go ahead.
Well, it was nice. Well, things barely happen. I just do some work, and after just get kind of sick, and after kind of leave. It was like 2 hours. I spent after I went home.
So you asked you told me that you were sick and they called, and then of course the rest is history. If you were home in a jiffy because you're just not too far from here. Tell me what exactly you did in that 2 hours that you spent in school on the first day that you weren't there on the it's the 9th? The 9th, yes.
I sit down in my seat.
All right, so they showed you what seat you have to use. All right, okay.
Sitting down in the back row.
Back row? All right, okay.
It's only had 3 rows. The class very small.
Oh, the class is very small. All right,
Cramped
okay.
up.
Well, that's a good sign. It means that you get more attention paid to you, because if you have a big class, I remember when I was teaching at Piccadilly, I had a big class, and it was difficult to pay attention to everybody, so I had to find ways and means of getting the faster ones attention, while of course I'm focusing on the slower ones. So that might be a good thing from my own experience as a teacher. But go ahead, let me hear what you're saying here. So what's the work you actually did?
Well, I do some maths.
Maths, right? Uh-huh.
And I did some. What was I doing? I can't remember the other subject. I don't
Social
know.
studies? You didn't tell me you did some social
Yeah,
studies?
social studies.
Oh, I want to know. I remember your thing for you. Well, remember, education is about remembering people. Remember that education is about remembering, and if the person who remembers the best or the worst, or not the worst, worst in the context of young people talk, when they say worst, they mean best or good. And Once you can remember, well, then of course you top the class and then you move on. That is what it's all about. But you have to train your mind to remember, and that is, remember every time mommy send you to the shop, for example, for 3 items, and you brought back 2, you say, oh, I forget the other one. Well, that's because the process of
That never happened.
that's required for education requires remembering. This is how you have to remember what the 3rd item that mommy sent you to the shop for, or daddy, as the case may be. Yeah, you were saying something? You were saying something? Go ahead. You say that was not something. You said?
No, I thought I was talking.
Oh, I thought you was talking about. No, I was making a general statement. All right, but let's get on to what you want to read today for us, quickly. Show your voice. I know you're sick, but show your voice. Yeah. Robinson Crusoe. Yeah, okay. Robinson Crusoe. Remember, this is not rehearsed, so those persons who believe that I should be asking him and then, of course, drilling him before the program, no. This is a live thing. Why I am doing it that way is to show to the young people who are watching, Joshua, that it's okay to make mistakes. One, but mistakes must be a learning experience. In other words, you must not repeat it after you would have made it, because you would have been much more educated, wiser, because that is how life is. And it's the same thing applies in the learning and teaching environment. Teachers and all make mistakes, but they too will learn from those mistakes, right? And of course, I don't expect him to know everything, but of course, I know that he has a basic reading skills, and let's hear what he has to read, the page that he has chosen to read tonight for us from Robinson Crusoe's, that Robinson Crusoe book. Go ahead.
But before I say that,
Okay, before you read.
before I read, the teachers, when you tell them something wrong, some of them just don't like to admit they're wrong.
Yeah. I know that as well. Yeah. I had that experience, but we'll talk about that probably tomorrow because we consume time. And so it's time to read here. Yeah, some teachers, would you say like parents? Parents as well don't like to admit that they're wrong. I hear you.
Mostly mothers.
Mostly mothers. Wow. That, and his mother is listening, so I know that he will be in some trouble after the program. All right. Go ahead. Remember, look at the monitor and know that when you're seeing yourself, it means therefore you are in. When you are not seeing yourself, it means that you are out of the focus of the camera. All right? So you have to learn that. It's not complicated, very simple. You stay in focus and you will be seen. You stay out of focus and you will be not seen. Go ahead. About the author? All day, going quite there? All right, okay, go ahead.
Where's the first page?
The first page, yes, but that is the author. The author is the man who writes the book. The first page would be something about the situation, about the story you see, and so on and so forth. But go ahead if you want to read that. Go ahead if you want to read about the author. Tomorrow you'll read something else.
Daniel Defoe was born in
Was born in 1660.
Born in 1660 in London. James Foe, his father, belonged to the butchers community. Daniel started out as a trader. He was sent by his father to study for the ministry but he went back.
Go ahead. It's all right to make mistakes. Go ahead. It's all right. We'll correct that when I read it over. have a problem, just tell me. Then back to Hoisiri.
Hoisiri business and built a successful business after serving in the military for some time. Before traveled
Before what? Before Defoe, that is the name of the man, traveled extensively. Extensively, what's the word? Yes?
Before business across.
And speak louder because it's hard to make mistakes. That's right. Go ahead. I know that you're a bit under the weather, so you get 100% for effort. Go ahead. Go ahead. Let's go. We have a program, you know.
Extensively for business across the continent. He was also appointed briefly as a spy by his government. Before was a prolific author whose first book was published in 1688.
Right.
However, it was him who
He what?
Wait. One thing, so 1666 to 1688. Now how much is?
No, look at that. We're doing maths right now. Let's read it. We're reading. Don't give it that. When the time comes for maths, we'll deal with maths. Go ahead.
However, it was his novel, The True-Born Englishman, 1701, that brought him to prominence.
What? That brought him to prominence, yes.
Before wrote more than just friction. Additionally, he published several like travel books, one of which is the Vivid.
Very good, man. Yeah, vivid, yes.
Vivid
Tour. Go ahead. Vivid tour.
Through the whole island of the Great.
You see no do there? You see
Of Great Britain.
Right.
1724 to 1727. Before his demise in 1731, Daniel Defoe distributed
distributed. I'm saying louder, man, so people can hear. Yeah. Distributed more than
500 books and
leaflets. Right. Okay, we pause there. So let me just read it for you, and then of course we will ask him what he has read so far, because I mean this is you could say it's a comprehension passage one time. About the author. Well, this book, of course, Robinson Crusoe. So it's a big time book. I mean, he's reading some serious material here. Of course, Daniel Defoe was born in 1606 in London. James Defoe. His father belonged to the butchers community. So you heard that from him. So he was correct there. Daniel started out as a trader. He was sent by his father to study for the ministry. You know, you have different types of ministries. You have, of course, a religious ministry, but you also have government ministries as well, as some of you may know. But he went back to his hosiery business. Hosiery business means things like stockings and socks and underwear and so on. Yeah, the hosiery business. And built a successful business after serving in the military for some time. Defoe traveled extensively for business across the continent. Well, if they're talking about Britain, by the way, name the continents before we continue. I mean, I may have continents and because you know, this, you see, education is about building on what you know. And you could relate back, even though it may not be in the book, like the continents and them, but you can relate back, and it will trigger, well, you know, I know the continents and them. Let me hear the continents and them before we continue. Let me hear the continents before we continue. Go ahead, quickly, because we have the other people who are waiting to open up the lines, for the lines to be open. Australia, yes, go ahead. Five, go ahead.
Australia.
Yes.
Asia.
Very good. Europe, yes, that's a continent as well. That's 3 so far. America, right? That's 4. And what? Antarctica. That some people say that's a continent, but the ones that we normally say, and I mean it's a big one. How you miss out that one? And it begins with an A as well. AF. AF. Yeah. AFR. Like over the span of the whole thing. Africa, right. Repeat them quickly, and because we have to wind up. It's only 10 minutes, we have 10 to 15 minutes. Go ahead.
Asia.
Yes.
Australia. Europe. America.
Africa, yes. Go ahead. That's it. That's the 5. All right. So you notice there are 3 A's. That's all. What are the 3 A's? Quickly. Well, go ahead. Well, say it. Let me hear if it's 4 A's.
Asia.
Yeah.
America.
Yes.
Australia.
And Africa. Very, very good. It says 4 A's. So he has corrected me. And where's the other one? The last one? Europe. Very good. All right. So let me just finish the passage that he read. Of course, we were on the continents, and we paused to find out what are the continents. So people, of course, yes, the continents. 3 A's. So that if you didn't know, young people, well, you know now, and the adults as well. So 3 A's, and that should be, sorry, 4 A's as he corrected me on. So that would be easy. Australia, Africa, Asia, Africa, like, let me see. Africa, Asia, Australia, America, right? And then, of course, you end with what? With Europe. Beautiful. All right. So he was also appointed briefly as a spy by his government. Defoe was a prolific author, meaning that he writes plentifully, prolific, writes plentifully, author whose first book was published in 1688. However, it was his novel, The True-Born Englishman, in 1701, that brought him to prominence, and that was a word that he had a bit of struggle with, but of course we cleared up that. Defoe wrote more than just fiction, meaning that story that he make up and he said fiction, you know, fiction. Yes. Additionally, he published several well-liked travel books, one of which is the vivid tour through the whole island of Great Britain, 1724 to 1727, before his demise, meaning at his death, he died. The demise, take note of these words. Demise in 1731. Daniel Defoe distributed more than 500 books and leaflets. So that's the end of that. Just before you leave, what do you mean of demise? He met his demise in 1731. What do you mean of demise? He died, right? Oh, good. He met his death. Any parting words that you would like to share with the audience quickly?
Stay in school and be good.
May I? Stay in school.
And be good.
Well, I hope that you could stick to your words, so that you are advising people to what to do, what they should do.
Stay in school.
Stay in school and be good. That way, say, right? So I expect that you would stay in school and be good, because you can't be a hypocrite, meaning that you're telling people to do something and you're not doing it.
Listen, I'm sick.
All right, okay then. Bye-bye, son. Yes, people, of course, so that's the end of that segment there with Joshua. And, of course, we will continue at this point. No, go leave now, man. Leave now, man. We're going. We're coming back for leave. Right. So, people, there we have it, of course, the segment with Joshua Smith. And, of course, the reading a passage. Of course, sometime in time we'll change it up. There's a little science, a little geography, as we did in that particular book, because reading is about taking you to experiences that life may be full of, but you have not yet experienced it. In other words, you will hear your teacher telling you that books encourages you to travel, or to make you travel. So even though we didn't know about Australia, we didn't know about England or that particular author, here it is that we know now, because that author would have been a famous author ultimately. So people, yes indeed, of course, let's go straight, of course, to the news of the day. And of course, that is courtesy the corridor transformation. And I want to, of course, make certain that you are well informed, and of course I want to say too that the line is also open. All right, we're having a little problem, of course, with the technology. Let me put it that way, with the video. So we're not going to harp on that. Of course, some of the things that are making the news today would be because that of the PM she tells the parents, parents must raise children's, parents must raise children responsibly. Yes. So parents must raise children responsibly. That's the advice of the Prime Minister. First Citizen gets a stable rating from S&P. As you know, that is a rating company that tells of the financial health and the economic health and the business health of not just institutions but of countries. So S&P, Standard and Poor's, they are well known across the globe. And when them tell you that your business ain't good, bet your bottom dollar you wouldn't get a cent borrow. All right. The other, of course, item is that PM 200 jailed Venezuelans to be deported. So that too we will be, of course, we will be addressing simply because it is part and parcel of the news. Yes, indeed. Of course, the lines are open, and we will take your. Well, the line is open. We'll take your calls at 337-6940. Let me say too that, of course, I want to thank all of the persons who would have contributed to our back to school drive. Annie, of course, as you would see there coming up, that's a person to contact even now, because we have now, for a very long time now, we have made it a perennial event, meaning that throughout the year, because we recognize that books will be consumed, will be used, especially writing material, those that is called stationaries and so on, and therefore from time to time we will have to replenish these items and to give a person 12 copybooks or 6 copybooks at the beginning of the term, and expected that they will have it until the end of a particular term, which lasts about 3 months. I think is not what I consider to be reasonable or rational or practical in modern day teaching experience, because you utilize that in no time with notes taken, and of course with work that may be part of your math course as you proceed. And so what we are doing, we are having, of course, a perennial drive, meaning that every day we will, and of course persons who are so inclined and they want to assist us, well, call Annie at the number that is see flashing across your screen, 336-6594, 336-6594, and of course she will be accommodated. Let me say as well that tell a friend, tell of course our enemy, tell the children that of course the corridor is here, and they should set up a little more to of course look at what Joshua has to offer. I'm sure they could empathize, and then they could go and sleep. So notice he is off to bed now that and it's just after 8 o'clock. Of course we go until 9:30 every night. Don't forget that. And I want to thank, of course, the owners of, I think is D&B. I don't want to, D&B. Because I contacted them today, and I mentioned that yesterday I was going to do. I sent it by WhatsApp. Let me get the WhatsApp message so you get an appreciation as to what I did, because I like to do what I say and I say what I do. So D&B, yes, clothing. Well, remember we had this article that indicated that a settlement was made between clothing or apparel importer and Nike and Jordan representatives here in Trinidad. And the representatives of these two major companies, footwear companies in particular, filed a claim in the courts indicating that this importer imported fake brands purporting to be their brand. And so to the tune of about just over 50,000 US. That's quite a lot of US dollars. And of course, before they were actually in court and presenting witnesses and so on, they had an out-of-court settlement. And the company accepted that it was wrong, that the brands that purported to be either Nike or Jordans, as the case may be, was not so. And so the details of which we don't know, but what we know is that they have accepted. But what was important for us and why we got involved, talking about the empowerment center that we have here on George Street, is that the agreement would have been that the 18,000 pair of slippers, shoes, etc. should be destroyed. And in addition to that, the company said that in order to destroy the items, Swimcall give them a huge bill. A huge bill. So they're double trouble or triple trouble for that company. They already in problems to have to pay the legal fees of the company's representatives. I'm talking about Nike and Jordan, etc. Then, of course, they have to lose the over 50,000 US that they would have expended. Wow. And on top of that, the cost of destroying those items, so Swimcall give them a huge bill. I don't know the figure, but obviously the court, the judge, mentioned that, of course, that was a bit expensive, and that's an expensive undertaking by that company, and to lose in so many ways is unfortunate. But the point I am making is that, having read that article, I thought that it would be a waste to destroy those slippers and sandals and so on. And so I communicated with the owners of the business, and then I also contacted the lawyers for Nike and Jordan today, and I sent the same message to them, indicating the following. Let me just read the information for you so you get an appreciation. All right, having of course communicated with them, and I got them on the phone. I sent a WhatsApp, and this is what it says. From Mr. Lennox Smith, President of Empowerment and Resource Center, George Street, Port of Spain. Further to our brief phone discussion, because we had a brief discussion because the internet was giving problems, and we were talking WhatsApp. I know WhatsApp is dependent on the internet. Well, so we got cut off. So I decided to put it in writing formally in the form of a WhatsApp. So George Street, further to our brief phone discussion on the disposal of the items pronounced by the High Court, I propose, 1, that a team of volunteers be allowed to deface, mutilate, disfigure the labels or emblem on the items. So in other words, we're going to destroy the logos of the various companies that felt that they were being shortchanged, and that is why they went to court. So that's one. So that's 1. 2, that this be done in the presence of the parties to the dispute or litigation. In other words, the customs could be there supervising the whole exercise. So as we disfigure and take out the labels, customs could be there, representative from the company, representative from the other side, to make sure that every single item is defaced. And we will get a team of volunteers. So in other words, I'm telling the company that they don't have to find the labor to have that exercise done, because you're talking about 18,000 slippers. Right, so we have to have a big staff in order to do that. But I'm sure the staff wouldn't mind, because what I have to say subsequently or later will make you understand why people wouldn't mind volunteering in such circumstances. So 4, that's 3, right? Prepare. Oh yeah. 3, that we are prepared to write to the court, the lawyers on both sides of this on this proposal. 4, we have adequate storage space at our facility on George Street, Port of Spain. So it's important, because after that we're storing it. So we have a whole big upstairs that we could put 18,000 slippers in. 5, transportation can be arranged. Normally in situations like this, we asked the regional corporations, we asked the Ministry of Works to assist us with the transportation. So just in case the company may not want to transport the items from the countryside, I think is somewhere in Pinal, to, of course, Port of Spain. And for other reasons as well, they may not feel comfortable to come to Port of Spain or to come on Jude Street, being so close to Nelson Street. That is the stigma that that has always been the bugbearer to this community, which we are trying, of course, to eradicate slowly but surely. Right? So transportation can be arranged if it is inconvenient or too cumbersome. The sixth part of the proposal. But let's go straight to the line. Let's go straight to the line. Of course, as I said, the line is open, so we go straight to the line. A pleasant good night to welcome to the corridor. Hi, a pleasant good night. Well, of course, as could be in the circumstance, but you see, we begging all over the place and we're looking for opportunities for the people. And we thought that ton load of slippers and footwear would have been a waste if you just burn it or throw it away, as the case may be. So we decided to apply for it, and well, when you read the response, you will understand that maybe they are considering it positively. Let me put it that way. But go ahead. We talking about Ghost, yes. He died, yes. Last night I spoke about it. Yes, he died. Oh, yeah. I mentioned that, and of course I sent out condolences from this program, and on behalf of, and when we had an opportunity on the ground report, I also did the same thing on all of us' behalf. Oh yeah, I too. So it appears that he was ailing, and of course. Yeah, he used to address only as Lucifer. This Lucifer, etc. And incidentally, he was from Lavantil as well. Yeah. I agree with you, my friend, and we always encourage him. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, go ahead. Yes. Yeah, there's always these ridiculous, what I consider to be anecdotes that come to the fore from people who are supposed to be intelligent and so on, and you always have to question and wonder. Well, there are some people that in my view, are born to just be destructive. She's proven to be that on a daily basis, clearly. Yes. Oh my goodness, yeah, boy. Yeah. But well, he makes these ridiculous statements. I mean, that appears to be part of his forte, to be as ridiculous as possible. Maybe they capture the headlines, as the case may be, because he believes he's some kind of superstar, defending, of course, the environment at times. But of course, he could stick to that. But when coming to issues of geopolitics and so on, because he did say that he will do his best to stop Kamala Persad-Bissessar and the UNC from becoming the government of Trinidad and Tobago. But of course, that has failed. So he probably has a different perspective, or should I say he has taken a different path to achieve that. So I am not surprised, frankly. Yeah. But are you surprised? Are you surprised about that? Okay, right, good. But that is important. First and foremost, that you should not be surprised, just as I am. Yeah. All of them would have been in a comatose state. Comatose state. Yeah. Yeah, but why do you think that they are hesitant? Why do you think that they are so um, reticent in terms of making a statement? Why do you think that is so? Because there's a reason for it. Well, it's much more complex than that. You see, if they make a statement criticizing Kamala, they would have at the same time throw Guyana under the bus. You see? So, yeah, and Guyana is a member of CARICOM. So they have a problem there. They would have preferred if you could have separated the statement made by the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. They would have hoped that it would have had nothing to do with Guyana. But the fact that she has shown by her statement her support in Guyana's corner, Guyana being a member of CARICOM, they being a member of CARICOM, then they have the plague called PIP. You know, Rowley introduced that into the political lexicon of Trinidad and Tobago. So PIP, they certainly gone deaf. I shouldn't say deaf, but silent in terms of their utterances. That is what is happening there with them. So they cannot make a definitive statement because they cannot categorically support Maduro as they would like, and so they prefer to hush. Just as how Rowley took no part when they went in Argyle in St. Vincent, but there to, of course, provide moral support, not to the CARICOM brother, but clearly to Maduro, who is the belligerent, who is the aggressor. And therefore, the CARICOM has found itself in a quagmire. That is what is happening to CARICOM. That is why they cannot make a collective or individual statement. Go ahead. Yes, right. You see, all of that would come to the fore. Yeah. He in fact he had a seminar. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. But all right. Thank you very much for that intervention. Let's go straight to the line. Yes, indeed. Let me go there, Mr. San Fernando. Pleasant night, Mr. San Fernando.
Yeah, the volume that from your speakers is like it's not low.
All right, I'll try to adjust that. I'll do that now.
I'm not hearing what the guy.
Oh yes. Sorry. Yes. Sorry. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. I lowered it to talk alongside the music, but I did not raise the volume. So now that is fixed. Thank you very much for that observation.
Yeah, but I wanted to find out if there was anything on the Maduro issue
that the caller spoke of, or based on what I was.
The caller didn't spoke of. I don't think I hear him talk about it, but I wanted to find out if there was anything that you found out about.
No. I unfortunately or fortunately I don't know, but I have not gotten any indication yesterday, last night, and today, of course, that Maduro has fled to Brazil. There is no indication that would have been, of course, generic news. That would have been big news. Yeah. So it appears that the source, that the caller on this program, who saw it fit to mention, and I have no question that his integrity um, is questionable. Not at all. I think he did it sincerely, but of course, it appears that it was from a source that was not credible or reliable.
Oh, okay, all right, okay, no
yeah.
problem, all right. Okay, yeah, all right, thanks.
Okay, all right.
All right. Yeah.
Okay, but I'm surprised that he doesn't have a issue to raise tonight. But that being as it may, of course, people. The line is open 337-6940, 337-6940, and you know time flies quickly here, and so you better make use of the opportunity, because after Joshua leave is of course a frenetic pace in terms of treating with the issues of the day. But let me get back to the story that I initiated with respect to the outcome of that court matter between a local supplier of apparel and Nike's and Jordan's representative, indicating that they imported fake brands, and therefore the arrangement is to destroy the 18,000 items. And of course, as I said, I sent a 8-point proposal. Let me just read. I reached the 6th point. The 6th point says the item will be distributed to the over 1,000 persons we have in our database. So that was part of the proposal that I put to the company and to the other players in this scenario. Let me just read 5 just in case I didn't before. Transportation can be arranged, right? So I said that transportation can be arranged if it is inconvenient or too cumbersome. So I did say that. Let's go to 7 now. The 7th plank of the proposal that I made to the parties is that the intention is to meet the decision agreed to and the adequate disposal of the items. In other words, why would you want to, of course, subject the environment to further stress by either burning or disposing of these items? Usually it is of plastic, and therefore the deterioration of plastic takes hundreds of years before it can fully disintegrate, even if it is buried. Landfills are getting a lot of problems across the globe, not just here, with respect to plastic items, and to deposit a further 18,000 slippers, all made of plastic, in the landfill. That is why, of course, Swimcol gave them such a large bill, because they know the environmental impact. So in one fell sweep, what we are doing at the same time is not just avoiding the cost to that company, but also saving the environment as well, preserving the environment as well. 8, I have a nightly program on YouTube called Corridor Transformation. Let's go straight to the lines one time, as we, of course, afterwards we will continue with that proposal that I made, consequential of that decision to destroy that 18,000 slippers, plastic slippers. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
A pleasant good night to all listeners and all in sundry east, north, west, and south.
Yes, man.
Earlier, I'm just asking on behalf of Uncle Lennox, 18,000 pair of slippers. It could be repurposed, and somebody could have something on the sole and the foot.
That's
because
right.
Rowley had taken away Jesus, and they had nothing to comfort their soul. So now if Uncle Lennox get 18,000 citizens in and around Trinidad and Tobago to cover their soul from the head to the bottom of the feet, in Jesus' name, they can walk comfortable for a little while. So it makes logic sense, and it is good. So we repurpose it, and somebody will benefit out of it.
Yeah.
So Uncle Lennox, tonight are serious, because here what's going on.
Yes.
I am going to talk about the Venezuelan ambassador, right?
Right.
Because apparently that fella, if I say anything, he had 2 tongues. One, he just talks Spanish, and one, he just twist, right?
Yeah.
Because he come out. He come out blazing guns. He come out with blazing gun, and he get to realize that he the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And now he's saying that he has no problem with Trinidad. Trinidad is very good, right? But I want him to come out and say that he in we country lobbying to keep Maduro, right, in power. And you see it for itself. Why? And he self say, right? But we are talking about him now. And that's, I was telling you, if that's the guy at the question here to ask a question. Because if he could say that Maduro is like Keith Rowley, run this country so good for 10 years, and the people is well off, and they have every need. Why does today only 130 days government change? School ain't finished. It ain't completely built. Housing ain't finished, delivered to people. The PTSD must have $58 million missing. It have $800 million on the book of debt. The NGC have $5 billion. They're owing them. Wasa in a mess. But that, I'm not going to talk about the Spanish Venezuelan ambassador. I just quoted, I want to ask you, Uncle Lennox. The man say Venezuela under Maduro is shining like a new minted copper. A copper that we made in the weather. It's green. So I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just going to say that we do the comparison of Keith Rowley and the PNM. Just imagine, Gaspy Dolly say that the fighting in school is the PNM children, the mother, sister, brother, niece, and the fighting.
Confession is good for the soul. Confession is good for the soul. Go ahead, it is said.
Yeah. Gaspy Dolly say that is the PNM children. No, the United National Congress, led by my honorable political leader, is trying to save them from themselves. You don't know when a child see a got traumatized, but you know it's Uncle Lennox. I'm not going to talk about that tonight because traumatization. They're supposed to be traumatized under Keith Rowley. Just imagine, he give up the leadership. He handed it to the next man. The next man lost it to our man, and our man they barely hold on to power. But I ain't going to talk them tonight, you know, because Uncle Lennox, I called to tell you. Have a blessed night and may small man recover greatly and how he's feeling. Because you know why? I see him now that our next minister say his hands are clean. And here do I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I say, no evil. All of bring one accuse me. But his wife and his daughter again benefit. And his supporters are them. They're on out empty-handed. Uncle Lennox and they fighting to get back in power. To do what again? To rob them. Vote for me, I will make you rich. Vote for me, I will empower you. Vote for me, and they will pay for the treasury. Have a pleasant good night, Uncle Lennox. May God bless you.
Thank you very much.
Ciao.
Yes, thank you very much. Of course, sarcasm will get you everywhere on this program because obviously he doesn't mean what he said. He means the opposite. But of course, that is one of the tools that human beings use to be as sarcastic as possible, to be as, I wouldn't say toxic, but certainly acrid as possible, and to be as critical as possible, and to, more importantly, I think, demonstrate how stupid people can be. So I think well done, Mr. Faizabad, in that exercise in sarcasm that will, of course, as I said, get you everywhere here. Because clearly we don't take those things literally, what he has said, because once you are saturated with the information, once you are aware of the information, you would know that is the opposite he means when he said that, of course, the efficaciousness of the last PNM administration and, of course, the ability of the current 12 plus 1, 12 plus 1, that 13, what I consider to be buffoons that have taken over the leadership of the PNM. Clearly, they are out of their depth, and no time soon they will be able to not only be in power, but contributing instead to the absolute and total annihilation and demise of the PNM, relegating it to the dustbin of political history. I'd like to refer, of course, all the time to Balize House. Just look at Balize House and you know that never again we could trust these individuals who have assembled under that criminal enterprise called the PNM. Right? So I think essentially that is what he would have said. He started, of course, with the Venezuelan ambassador who appeared to have a forked tongue. And of course, I want to say when he was speaking, my mind was thrown back to the ultimate, the epitome, the quintessential diplomat, both in terms of the Prime Minister and in terms of her selection as the Minister of Foreign Affairs. I'm talking about, of course, Sobers, young Sobers. I think he has demonstrated that he's an excellent choice in that regard, because he has been saying all the time, in spite of all of the turbulence that is happening all around, that Trinidad and Tobago has a good relationship with Venezuela. I think that is fantastic. And that the only thing that the government could go on is the official position of the United States with respect to its presence in the Caribbean, in the Southern Caribbean, in the Caribbean Sea, and the Atlantic Ocean, and that is that they are here for the purpose of eradicating or attacking frontally those persons who are engaged in the production of narcotics that are killing not just Trinidad and Tobagonians, but of course of people in the United States. I think it's fantastic. You could do what you want. You could say that they are sarcastic. You could say that they are engaged in circumlocution, roundabout talk. You could say that they are not sincere, all of that. But none of it would be able to hold water. None of it will be able to stick on the wall like, of course, glue or let's say masonry. Why? Because the Americans, they repeated what the Americans say, and of course they remain monofocused and very stick-to-itive, meaning that they are tenaciously mono-minded about the relationship with Venezuela. Of course, there are those who want them to say, I want to say on the other hand, that Venezuela is this and that, and criticize Maduro, etc., etc. No. The government of Trinidad and Tobago is so sagacious, is so wise, is so diplomatically, should I say, wise, so diplomatically sensitive that they will not and have not made the fatalistic mistake of causing what I consider the irateness or attracting the irateness of Venezuela, or indeed the current ambassador, because when that kind of situation developed in normal diplomatic circles and action, well, if for example, Trinidad and Tobago was criticizing Maduro at every level, at every opportunity, and the Venezuelan ambassador would have responded in light tone, you know, in diplomatic circles, he would have had to be expelled. Yeah. Notice that with the Americans and Russians, for example, an incident takes place, Putin is criticized, or vice versa. Well, one time they say, come and get your diplomats and get them out, especially if a diplomat in your country is criticizing your government. They get rid of them. The only one that never happened with, even though such a situation manifested itself, and that is, of course, the American ambassador, who said in no uncertain terms that the Gary Sobers of the Rowley PNM administration before the 28th of April this year was a damn liar. He lied on him. And instead of saying, well, listen, Ambassador, you can't do that on my soil. Or as Rowley would have, of course, boasted that here it is a man, he take umbrage that an ambassador will come here in my country and say that he is concerned with the direction that the government then was going in relation to Venezuela and Maduro. But all of that was talk. And even the parliament, you would recall when, of course, Robinson Regis said, who the hell is Trump? Who the hell is Trump? All of that. But they remain docile. They remain a very condescending, and in this case, of course, why condescending could mean arrogant, are talking about subservient. Yes, subservient, groveling, in spite of the big talk that they talk all over the place. They dare not tell the ambassador, leave the country. Dare not. And Cho Chung, instead of saying that the ambassador misrepresented what he said, he came with a different story in the parliament, suggesting that somehow they were on the same page, because Weiss, he said that he didn't raise the issue of Delcy Rodriguez, which was the issue at the time, because the ambassador said, yes, I did. Yes, I raised the issue when you came and see me at the embassy. And to go to parliament and to say that that wasn't so is a blatant and unadulterated lie. So what did Cho Chung do in the face of that blatant frontal denial and embarrassment? He then says, listen, maybe I said it differently, or I should have said it differently, that the question of treating with Delcy Rodriguez is different, as the ambassador would have indicated, that I didn't focus on that part of the discussion that he, the ambassador, focused on. That is along that convoluted and what I consider to be totally dunderheaded line that this fella, who claimed to be a prime minister, foisted upon us by Rowley and obviously rejected by the people. That nincompoop called Cho Chung a total moron. I thought it was important, of course, to share that emanated from the general presentation of the last caller. Of course, the line is open, and we continue to take your calls, and we enjoy having this kind of debate and analyses to, of course, put perspective and to better understand what is happening in Trinidad and Tobago today. But let me get back to the conclusion of my proposal to that company that found itself in court, Nike and other legal representatives, and where they got, of course, made this arrangement to settle that matter. But let's go straight to the line. We give the way to the callers all the time. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Hey, Lennox, Mr. Pleasant good night to you and everybody on the live. Pleasant good night.
Yes, man.
Well, I don't want to stay too long, so I just want to say that, I see any news earlier on today with they terminate some of the URP workers.
Yes.
But I know that was coming to it because, on the ground, when you listen to the people on the ground, it has some people in the URP office who are in low position that always telling us that the URP belongs to them. Just like our PNM balling that they feel Trinidad and Tobago belongs to them. But I will say this, right now I take some tablet right now to clean up my small and large intestines in my body. Right, I have a sort of filth and thing inside it. And you know when they taking a clean out, you know it's all kind of pain it has get your belly does hot your head does hot here. So when the UNC right now is cleaning up the place, it's all kind of pain and ache and thing again. But the PNM telling us said they will come back in 2030. Right now they're keeping a little ghost town meeting right now wherever there is somewhere in the Martin. And when they pay attention to the crowd, they bring it across certain point and like people barely want to clap. They barely want to make a little noise. But the PNM realizes they're dead and they're just ready for them to throw the dot on them and bury them. You understand? So Lennox continues to bring the information out there. You know, a lot of people go benefit from it, including myself. And again, thank you very much for all the work that you have put in for the past 10 years, you know, edifying the people and stuff, and making sure that we keep the PNM out of governance for the next 1,000 years and counting.
Forever, yes, in perpetuity. Yeah, forever. Thank you very much, of course, young man from, that's a Point Fortin caller people. So we have people from all over the country and all over the globe as well. Of course, I didn't hear for the last 2 days or so anybody from Tobago. Tobago, of course, you are conspicuously missed. You are missed conspicuously as well. It is noticeable. So I expect that, of course, in the coming days, I know that there was some element of uncertainty as to whether or not we will be on because of the challenges that I would have had how to treat with this matter, and of course developing new elements of the program, and I think we have been fairly successful. We brought on, of course, young Joshua Smith to 10 years of age to as part of the introduction. Of course, he has to get to sleep early to go to school. But of course it's important, and then to share, of course, some what I consider to be unrehearsed or unadulterated issues that could relate to your own situation, particularly those students who are struggling, whether at the primary level or at the secondary level, or indeed, of course, at the kindergarten level or the early childhood centers level in this country. But I think he raised a very important point as well. The paltry attendance of members of the PNM to their meetings that seem to be a talk shop of aggression, a talk shop of nostalgia, and of course somehow in a state of what I consider to be manic depressive psychosis, where they have lost all sight of reality. And when he was talking, of course, I remembered that was not only now after the 28th of April, it was before the 28th of April, because I remember in St. James when, of course, members of the PNM in a PNM meeting started to tell Rowley that he just lie. And after that, of course, that was a local government, in a local government scenario. And after that, of course, he started to utilize public money allocated to the office of the Prime Minister to have meet the Prime Minister meetings now, after he was embarrassed by his own people. And of course, I made the point, how could you be so obnoxious? How could you be so brass-faced? How could you be so insensitive that you converted the election campaign after that embarrassment in St. James, Rowley, to meet the Prime Minister, and all of the, what I consider to be formalities of a prime ministerial meeting was observed and practiced. You had somebody introducing, very formal, very, not the usual politicians, but somebody clearly that was hired by the office of the Prime Minister, ostensibly, to make the introductions and so on. Very formal, very formal. But where it fell down, where it was a case of spitting in the sky and falling in the face, in other words, where it was an abuse of the resources of the country and the office of Prime Minister, is that the Prime Minister was done in a red jersey or attire, and everybody in the room was red. Everybody in the room was red. But you call it a prime ministerial intervention or interaction meeting. I say that is not just criminal, not just unholy, not just unethical and immoral, but it shows not just the level of desperation, but also the lack of propriety, the lack of decency, the lack of understanding that as Prime Minister, you are Prime Minister of all and not of the PNM. And I made the point that if I were to walk in that room or that audience in a yellow jersey or a blue jersey or a black jersey representing, of course, another political party, Rowley would have been, the causation would have been responsible if I was beaten to a frazzle, and worse yet, if I would have expired as a consequence. In other words, if I would have met my, as my son said earlier, my demise. Because it's a prime ministerial meeting. Prime Minister of all, so therefore I can walk in there. But he converts that, utilize our resources in order to save face. Yes, let's go to the line. Let's go to the line immediately because, of course, as I spoke about Tobago, I see Tobago is in the house, so to speak. Yes, a pleasant good night to you. Yes.
I hear you crying, so. Oh God, you're crying.
Yeah. We want to hear something from Tobago, man. Come on, yes.
I just, as I go to my phone, I say, oh God, oh Lord, oh, I'm crying.
Thank you for that response. You saved Tobago from maybe tomorrow some criticism that would not be normally my characteristic, but go ahead, you saved them nonetheless.
I want to tell the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I want all of you to understand what I'm saying here tonight. Now, we have a Minister of Finance that passed, the PNM Minister of Finance that passed, and he is laughing at the public because if you were get paid, that means the country have no money. And he is going about and saying, Camilla had to find money because the country have no money. You is a Minister of Finance. You have PNM people, you have UNC people, and you have other people who vote for different parties, right? So that come like Inbert is laughing in our faces, and we still want to vote for PNM. We have to understand that Inbert and this PNM, they don't like nobody, not even their own followers. Because if you could use a language like that to scrape for money to pay, that means you're glad what you did. You're glad you spent all the money. You're glad you have no money to pay public servants or whatever it is for this government to fall or whatever they're feeling because they lost power and they believe they're still in power. What I have to say tonight, God take a rib from a man and put it in a woman. But it's alleged God take a rib from Rowley and put it in Penny. Good night.
Put it in who?
Penny.
In Penny. I see. All right, very good. That's a good one. So you go on with that. All right. That is, of course, this is why I love Tobago. And without Tobago's input, I believe that we have an incomplete program. So I suppose you are impressed, as I have always been, with the presentation of Tobago, and of course it is Trinidad and Tobago, and one expects that they will be participating. So we have of course covered almost all of Trinidad and Tobago, but quite apart from that, I have not heard of from the diaspora, whether in Canada, whether in the United States, etc. I know that the program is so packed with information, and the information is so pellucid, is so clear, that of course there's no need to make an input. When I say, if only to say that I'm there, make an input. Whether you are in the United States, whether you're in Germany, whether you're in Jamaica, whether you're in Barbados, whether you're in Guyana, make an input, because we want to, if only for a short, burst, so to speak. But let me, of course, look at the very impressive presentation of Silver Fox. It usually comes very, 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 very good. Of course, it says at the end of it, God take, of course, a rib from Rowley and put it in Penny. So that means she is, of course, the clone, the clone of Rowley. I mean, that's the interpretation I would have gotten from that particular statement, the final statement that he made. But he made some very other significant points as well, and that is the fact that they are on the path, so they believe, of reconstituting the PNM. Well, I want to tell them that, of course, they have a lot of reconstituting to do, and they have real constitution to try to do that. Because like Humpty Dumpty that sat on the wall and had a good fall, and nobody could put that together again. Well, that is the PNM today. So let us not waste time even focusing there. But I'm glad that he has made us realize that we must not be naive, because they are going to die trying. And therefore we must be ready, we must be conscious, and we must be totally and adequately ready to defend that which we must defend, and that is our country from these marauding bunch of opportunistic political parasites. Are talking about, of course, the 12+1, including Penny. Right? So very, very, very significant. But let me get back and conclude my my intervention with respect, of course, to that situation that was concluded in the courts of this country, where there was a consent order. A consent order is order made by the two opposing parties that come to an agreement outside of the intervention or the decision of the court, and then the court must, of course, because they come to an arrangement by themselves, usually will honor it, except of course in circumstances where it does not conform to what the court considered to be proper process or procedure. So, as I said, number 8, the eighth clause in the proposal that I gave was that I have a nightly program on YouTube called Corridor Transformation from 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. and a host on the ground report Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Why did I mention that? Well, the caller on the next end, with a brief conversation that we would have had, representing, I assume is a representative of the company, wanted me to provide my ID information, because she said that a number of persons have been calling them for different reasons about that matter, and she wanted to be certain that I was genuine in terms of my proposal. So, having spoken to her, so you notice is a she, I then put that WhatsApp together, 8-point, of course, proposal, which of course she acknowledged, because the blue tick is there to show that she acknowledged it. But more than that, she did send a response. I want to say too, what she asked for is a link to the corridor transformation. I also send that as well. So hopefully she's looking at it tonight. And if you are, ma'am, you can call in, because this is not just about Trinidad and Tobago. This is not just about our transformation and development. This is not just about addressing the question of poverty, crime and criminality, gang warfare and youth delinquency. Not just that, but it's about saving Trinidad and Tobago. Some say from itself, but I would say from within. Once we can redirect the energies and the thought patterns and the attitudinal changes that are required, so that we can become productive, law-abiding, and indeed first-class citizens. All of us, of course, aspiring for a higher standard of living and quality of life in this globalized world, where we must, of course, find our way, and the rest of the world could be considered to be in shark infested waters, which Trinidad and Tobago must now manipulate and find its way to the ideals that I have just earlier espoused. So what was the result? The result is that the response of the person on the next end is that, good day, thank you for your response. We will get back to you as soon as possible. So they thank me for making such a simple but effective proposal in WhatsApp, on WhatsApp, and of course they will get back to me as soon as possible. I think that was the minimum I would have expected from such an effort that to clean the environment, to save the environment, to prevent those materials from going to just waste, and at the same time help in the addressing poverty, if you want to call it that, or at least providing a slipper for 18,000 persons, and at the same time meeting the agreement to destroy, of course, the labels, so that you will have these slippers but without the labels, or the labels would be mutilated. So in other words, we cannot be accused of selling, because of course you wouldn't sell, nobody would buy something that is mutilated, or the most important part of it, the brand, just out of place all entirely. So nobody would sell, because it's a economic benefit to sell it as it is, without the mutilation, because nobody will take them seriously if they mutilate this slipper and go and sell it. So give it to us, and we will find people to wear it and put it to use, save the environment in the process, save costs to the company, and the objective of the Nike and the other legal representative will be met, and everybody is happy in such circumstance. And the entire exercise dedicated to, of course, altruistic consideration. So I think it's wonderful. Of course, I sent back a very short phrase saying, thank you. Thank you. So I trust that they are looking on. So I thought it was important, of course, to raise it tonight, just in case that they are looking on. But let's look at the time. You know, I like to take off my glasses for that. It's now 9:49. Time to go. Yes, indeed, time to go. So let's leave the part as we started, of course, with Valentino, I believe it is. And when he said that, of course, Trinidad is nice. It's a paradise, but of course, it's only nice for Brother Valentino, yes. It's only nice for people who would have made it one way or another. You understand what I mean by that? I didn't want to cast any aspersions, so I'll leave it right there. But let's conclude Don't forget, people, of course, we have come to the end of tonight's program. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless, and see you tomorrow morning on the ground report. Andy, Mikey, and myself, Thursday morning. I'll have to leave a little early because I have an engagement for and on behalf of a resident who has a land issue that I have committed myself to address it. So have a wonderful one. Bye-bye.
You talk about a place where the people are carefree living. It is such a place of fun-loving, spraying and petting. Tis the land where people don't care if Ash Wednesday fall on Good Friday. Man, they love to struggle in this happy-go-lucky way. It's Blokorama, Fetorama, and just now is Masorama. So the foreigner come for carnival, and he telling himself after he had a ball.
Trinidad is nice, Trinidad is a paradise.
It's the foreigner in La Trinity, the people have a carnival mentality.
Trinidad is nice, Trinidad is a paradise.
They are not serious, very few conscious, so I cannot agree with my own chorus.
Trinidad is nice, Trinidad is a paradise.
But I hear some people talking about Revolution Day, changes on the way. They're born in a land, the better parts controlled by the alien. They fill the pockets of Portuguese, Chinese and Syrians. Trinidadians is who should own land. Now is the time to make the land their possession, but their sense of taste could just trace to all them fancy showcase. So the businessman, he blow their mind, and his dollars, them got to find. Trinidad is nice for men like Sabda, Kupalani, Maraj, and Waidi Lima.
Trinidad is nice, Trinidad is a paradise.
Business expanding, more banks they billing, so is the capitalists and them who should sing.
Trinidad is nice, Trinidad is a paradise.
And like the slave masters want to bring back the whip, and the chorus singing like they on a trip.
Trinidad is nice, Trinidad is a paradise.
But I hear my sister talking about Revolution Day, fire on the way. They don't know their worth, like they haven't a sense of value. They don't know their rights, even that they cannot argue. 750,000 people cannot get up and do something about the struggle, but to plan for the next holiday, to get their lives away, and forgetting that they own the soil of which their foreparents toil. For the people who form the constitution laws, for the oppressors and foreign investors.
Trinidad is nice, Trinidad is a paradise.
Amoco and Shell business did went swell, on your oil them foreign parasites dwell.
Trinidad is nice, Trinidad is a paradise.
Yet the song I sing, like if I hearing the chorus singing, God save the King.
Trinidad is nice, Trinidad is a paradise.
But I hear my brother talking about Revolution Day, fighting on the way.